channel, How To Chris here. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to be talking about crown molding, and I'm going to share some tips, some tricks, some things really to know before you do crown molding. So a couple things you're going to want to know is you're going to want to choose whether you want to lay the material down and cut it or put it in against the base and fence and cut it that way. So if you lay it down, then you're going to need to know what the spring angle is. And the spring angle is a common spring angle. Two very popular spring angles are 52-38, and that's the 52-38 spring angle, and then there's a 45-45 spring angle. So you would need to know which crown you're using, and once you determine which crown you have, then you would choose on your miter which degrees to lock in, and then on the bevel part of the compound miter saw, you would choose which degrees, you would choose the correct degree for that to set the correct bevel. So when you lay it down, you need to know the spring angle. If you don't lay it down and you put it, you put it on the base and the fence in the proper orientation, then you don't actually need to know those angles. But what you would do is you would, if you put it in against the fence and the base, then you're going to put it in upside down, and everything's going to be backwards. So the base would represent the ceiling, and the fence, which is this here, would represent the wall. So you would put it in upside down, and everything gets reversed. So the advantage to that is you don't need to dial in the degrees like you would with laying it flat. Of course, putting it in against the fence and base, you still need to set it to the 45 degree, whether it's going to be an inside corner or an outside corner. That would depend on the bevel part, and that would be set also to 45 degrees. But you don't need to know more than you don't need to get involved with anything other than 45 degree on the miter or bevel. But when laying it down, if you, for example, have a 52-38 spring angle, which is very popular, then you would set your miter, you would actually set it to 31.6. So that's 31.6. And some of the machines actually have it indicated on it already. This one does as well. So I actually have it marked. I'm going to put in a close-up of that too later. And then the bevel you would set at 33.9. It's also indicated. Not all machines have it indicated, but now this machine I have here, if I'm doing a 45-45 spring angle, it's not indicated. So I went ahead and marked it to, for the miter I did 35.3, and the bevel I marked 30 degrees. So I'm going to put those figures in this video so you can take them and be able to do the very common 52-38 crown and the 45-45 spring angle crown as well. Okay, so let's talk more about the spring angle. So when I say, we'll start with the easier one, which is the 45-45 spring angle. All that really means is, let's call this the wall, and this would be the ceiling. So this is 45 degrees, and this is 45 degrees. So both those, if you add them up, it would equal 90 degrees, which would be the corner area of where the wall and ceiling intersect. Now, when we talk about the 5238, that's different. It's going to be projecting off the wall differently. Instead of being, it's going to be more of a steeper angle, and when you have higher ceilings, it works out really well because the crown is actually hanging down into the room more, so you can see the detail. So again, the 45 spring angle is like this, and the 52 would be angled, would be a greater angle. And so when I say 5238, really what that means is if you add 52 plus 38, that will give you 90. So same with the 45 and 45, it gives you 90. So it's just referring to that's the corner, and the 52 and 38 equal 90. And now I drew something here. I'm going to take a close-up of it, and we have a line going straight up that would represent 180 degrees. And if I put a gauge on here and I went over and it read 142, what I would do is I would subtract 142 from 180, and that would give me 38 degrees. So that would be a 38 degree. That's where you would see the 5238. That's where that would come in. And then if I have 180 degrees here and this angle reads 135 degrees, I would minus 135 from 180, and that would give me a 45 degrees. Would give me 45 degrees. Okay, so basically the spring angle adds up. The two different numbers will equal up to 90 degrees. So again, the 45 spring angle will make 90. The 5238 will make 90. Now, if I made my own crown and I wanted to make a different spring angle from something that I can purchase at the store, I can make it 50, 40. So 50 and 40 would be 90 degrees. So you can play with the crown and make it project more away from the wall, and so you'll see more detail, especially if it's a taller ceiling. Now, if it's pretty low down, such as a fireplace mantle, then you might not want to have it projecting down so much. You would want to keep it more around the 45 spring angle. So that's my preference, but again, you can choose how you want to set your spring angle if you make your own crown, and I'm going to be making videos on how to make your own crown molding. But I wanted to share today how to get the angles. So 5238, we'll start with that since it's very popular. You're going to set your miter to 31.6. Some saws don't have it indicated. This one has it indicated. It says here 31.6. Okay. Now on the bevel, it'll be 33.9, and it's also indicated there. I'm going to take a close-up and show that. So don't worry, that'll be there in the video. If you're doing a 45 degree spring angle, it's not indicated. So I went ahead and marked my machine here. So I marked it at 35.3. And I put a little mark here. And for the bevel is pretty simple. It's 30. So I like to just keep it written down on my saw, especially if I'm doing a lot of crown molding. And it's just easy to know what those measurements are, what those degrees are supposed to be set at. But again, without writing it down, this saw is set up for the most popular spring angle, which is 52, which is a 38. You call it a 52-38 spring angle. So that's, you can even just call it a 38-degree spring angle. That's marked, but again, the 45 spring angle isn't, so I marked it. Okay, so you can also make crown molding without, it could be a flat material such as this. It doesn't have to always have a detail on it. So what I did here is, I'm actually out of crown molding, so I just made some crown here with some material I have, and you can see that this is set. I set this at a 45 spring angle, and what that does. Okay, so you can also make crown molding just with some flat stock material. It doesn't always have to have the any detail on it, and it's great for bookshelves or fireplace mantles and things like that. And so this would be like an outside corner. You can pick that up. I did this with a 45-degree spring angle, and I'm going to show a close-up again of which degrees to choose in order to achieve that. And so this would be an outside corner. Then you can do inside corners, and that would be like this. And when you cut your crown molding, I recommend cutting like 4 scraps and having the 2 for the outside, 2 to make up an outside corner, and then 2 to make up an inside corner. And you just keep those handy. It'll help visualize what's going on, and this way you won't make any errors. Keep in mind, again, if you're not laying the material down, you do everything backwards. And again, I'll probably put up a video on how to do that. But I thought most important was how to do this with it laying down, because it's a lot easier, and I think it's a lot faster as well. So